everyone, welcome to Car Review. Today we're going to talk about the new movie, or new-ish movie, Once Upon a Deadpool. This will be a no spoilers review, so let's get into it. So Once Upon a Deadpool, or Deadpool 2.5, if you want to call it that. It's a new-ish movie set Deadpool. It's a rehash of Deadpool 2. It's the PG-13 version. Some people say that this was just to poke fun. He's being Deadpool. He's making a self-aware movie about the fact that he's so R that people want to see him as PG-13. Some people have said that this is simply a cash grab by Fox, and other people have said that this is a way for Fox to test how a PG-13 Deadpool would fit, because Disney bought Fox, and now Disney might want Deadpool in their movies. It's probably all the above, but forgetting the reasoning behind this film existing, I'm going to talk about the actual quality of the film. And honestly, this film works and it doesn't work. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there are moments in this movie, because it's all centered around Fred Savage. I mean, they show that in the trailer. Deadpool talking to Fred Savage, and they use those moments as bridges in between scenes that are incredibly R-rated, whether that be for sexual content, violence, language, which is a intuitive and imaginative way to cut out a large chunk, because I always thought that if they ever were going to make a PG-13 Deadpool, that they would have to lose a lot of what makes Deadpool Deadpool, and they do quite a bit of that, because there are legit minutes of this film cut, and the editing feels really choppy and odd and kind of misplaced, because unless you've seen the original cut of Deadpool 2, this movie will more than likely work with you completely. However, for massive Deadpool fans who have seen Deadpool 1 and 2, especially Deadpool 2, the original cut, watching this now, you can tell that Deadpool needs to be rated R, because just the way that they even turn the language. I mean, they not only do they bleep some words, which is kind of funny, but they also just replace some words instead of like, oh fuck, they'll be like, oh fine, which again is something that they have to do, because they can't bleep out everything or else it'd be full of bleeps. But again, once you've heard the first version of it, hearing a different version, it just sounds off, and there are moments where you can tell that extra dialogue was recorded. It doesn't sound, even for that 1 second of changing the F word to fine, you can tell that there's a different sound to the recording, that it doesn't mix 100%. It's about 98%, but it's not 100. Because it wasn't how it was naturally recorded. You can tell that there are bits that have been re-altered, re-recorded, remixed. And there are, that's just for the language side of it. That's just for the dialogue. Then there are moments where during the action sequence, the blood is cut. In that first opening scene of Deadpool 2, where he's cutting people up in that warehouse with chainsaws and guns and other power tools and stuff. No blood. That blood is just absent. And stuff like that. There is still blood in the film, but there's just a lot less. And that also felt odd. And there are just literal sections of this film cut, and they cut back and forth from the actual Deadpool 2 movie to Fred Savage, which again is fine, but the amount of cuts that they have to do is jarring, and then the edits that they slide in to make Deadpool 2 be converted from an R format to a PG-13 format just doesn't feel right. As big of a Deadpool fan as I am, and I am, I have the hoodie with the zip up, the full mask, I saw Deadpool, the first one, in theaters 6 times, twice in Canada, shout out to Reynolds, and that is my personal record for seeing a movie in theaters, consecutively. And then Deadpool 2 is, I saw that 2 times in theaters, which is how my schedule was working out during that month. But I like both these films a lot. They are some of my favorite films, like, of the past decade. But to see Deadpool 2 be so downgraded and to see it be so apparent, I mean, it just, there are some moments that really work, because they did film extra scenes and stuff to pad it in, but you can notice that padding, and honestly, this film could have been like an hour and a half if they didn't add in that padding. And I think it comes out to like 145, maybe 2 hours, and that's, I'm not talking about credits, I'm talking about actual film, so it's like an hour 45 of actual film, and honestly, if they would have just kept out everything R, it would have just been like an hour and a half, but like, I don't know if that padding of 15 or so minutes is really worth it when the end product was kind of meh. It's not a bad film, and if you're a Deadpool fan, or if you're curious about making an R-rated film into a PG-13 film, if you're curious about anything about this movie, you should see this, because it is something to see. There is enough there to interest you, but I don't know if this movie proves that Deadpool can operate on a PG-13 level. At least I don't think he can. Now, if they make a PG-13 Deadpool movie from the get-go, like from day one of production, they are set in their mindset to make it PG-13, then maybe it could work better. But I think if every Deadpool movie goes forward starting R and then getting cut down to PG-13, I don't think that'll work. Because, like I've said before, there are parts of this movie that work really well, and then there are parts that do not. And honestly, I think that this did more of a disservice to Deadpool than an enhancement. I think it really, slashed up a pretty good film being Deadpool 2, and that's really a sad thing to say, because Deadpool 2 is an amazing film, and to see it not as good as I remember was disappointing. Yeah, I mean, it's good, but it's not great. It went from being great to now just good. So take that for what it is. Still see it though if you're interested. It is an interesting idea, an interesting premise. Maybe more studios will take note of this and maybe say, hey, Deadpool needs to be rated R always, or we're gonna try to do this again in the future. Maybe we'll see other, R-rated movies converted into a PG-13, setting to get more butts in theater seats. I don't know, but yeah, that is my no spoilers review of Deadpool 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video, comment, share, like, subscribe. See Once Upon a Deadpool. No, I was gonna say one other thing, but I'll let you guys see that when you see the movie. All right, I'll see you next one. Peace.